Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, looking at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hello and welcome back. I'm your hostess, Kristen, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Amber and Cindy.
Hello.
Hello.
Today, we are talking about cool destinations in Texas. And maybe about this time last year, we went on a little road trip.
Oh, that was
Yes.
so fun.
Three of us,
Yes.
and we went to a cool destination in Texas that we had always wanted to go to. I felt like it was the opposite end of Texas for us, like
Yeah, totally.
road
'cause-
trip. We've talked about day trips. We've talked about date nights, I think a little bit, bucket lists, and obviously, like, it's a big planet. There's lots of places. We got listeners all over the world. Like, I think we were looking at some downloads, like, statistics the other day, and we have somebody from Japan, and we're like, wow, that's cool. Hey, whoever you are in Japan. But, Texas is a pretty big state, and we all
bigger than some countries.
yeah, bigger than a lot of countries. So we actually, apparently we all live in the same state together. So we thought, might as well,
We do?
right? Might as well cover some cool destinations that we have been to and haven't yet been to.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just thought that would be kind of fun. We do love to travel. So,
I'm a travel agent.
right,
so.
totally.
And most of my traveling does not involve travel agent type travel, but that's okay.
Right, right. And
I just like to go.
Texas is so big that you can make a road trip and it can be hours long or short, or you can even just get in a plane and fly somewhere and be still in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you can fly across Texas.
Yeah. It's a short trip on a plane, but it's still,
Or it
there's-
could be an 8-hour drive. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of places. Texas has
A wide variety of climates.
terrain and
Yeah.
climates, exactly. Yeah. So, you want to see desert, you want to see the hills, you want to go to the, the
Mountains.
beaches, the mountains. Yeah, I was blown away and still am that Texas has mountains because I grew up in West Texas where it's flat. And just to be, just a little way south. I mean, I knew there was, mountains in El Paso and stuff, but I didn't realize how big they were.
And then here in Dallas, we're in the what's considered subtropical, right? So
Yeah, below sea level.
Yeah. No, we're not below sea level.
I thought we were.
No, we're 600 feet above sea level.
Ah, so barely above sea
Barely above sea level. Yeah.
Right, only 600 feet, which is only like a 3-story building, right? Or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
level. Yeah, it's not.
I don't know. Well, it'd be. I
Oh,
don't
wait,
know.
that's a really short building,
That's a
isn't
short-
it? Or tall building. I don't know. Gosh, I don't know.
Kristen, quit
Shush.
mathing.
Yeah,
You're
no,
not-
math is not my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, don't.
I'm like, that's
Don't
a
listen to her
really
math.
big vaulted
She
ceiling.
has bad math.
Like, okay.
600 feet. Is
That's like a
yeah.
really tall building, actually. But anyways, so, cool places in Texas. I guess I'll start with, like, the biggest statue in Texas.
Ah,
Okay,
that's a
so
cool one. Yeah.
driving to Houston, we used to, take our little trip. I think that's down 45. Is
Yeah.
that right?
From Dallas. Yes.
From
So are you
Dallas.
talking about Sam Houston?
Yes. Okay.
Oh.
Big white statue that's standing up, like literally, like on the edge of the highway, and you
And
come
you can
around
see
the
him
bend.
for miles.
Yeah, it's like he kind of pops up because the contrast to me is what's astonishing. He's white, like whatever. And
I don't know what he's made
Yeah,
out
I
of.
don't know what he's made
and
out
you're
of.
like,
Sorry, I
what
didn't
is that when
research.
you're coming down
Yeah,
the road?
and it's so weird because we don't have like I mean, there's statues, but like, it's not like, the Statue of Liberty, but he's pretty big.
So I actually have some facts about the Sam Houston statue because we used to go down to Galveston, Houston, or whatever, sometimes with my husband, and he would never let us stop. So when we went on our first cruise, it was me, Kristen, and our friend Stephanie, and we drove down. And as we rounded the corner to see Sam, and saw Sam on the side of the road, I said, we have to stop because I've always wanted to stop and nobody would ever stop and let me go look. So we actually stopped and I grabbed this little bookmark thing that has a lot of really cool information on it. So Sam is actually the world's tallest statue of an American hero. And he is 67 foot tall on a 10-foot base. It weighs approximately 60 tons, 30 tons of steel, and 30 tons of cement. So there's the answer to what he's made out of.
Cement, that's right. Okay, that's why he's so white. Yeah.
He was dedicated to the city of Huntsville on October 22nd, 1994. So he's not that old, which I did not realize. I hadn't read this in a long time. He was constructed by the artist David Atticus, Adickes, and it took 3 years to build him. He's visible for 6.5 miles from the south and is located on 6 acres next to the interstate.
The statue is actually called A Tribute to Courage.
Okay, and he's nicknamed Big Sam.
Big Sam, yeah.
He's built to withstand 500-mile-an-hour gales, 5 times the greatest wind exertion because of the hurricanes. Because he's down there, just north of Houston. So, obviously, he is a tribute to Sam Houston, the first president of Texas, and the city of Houston also is named for him. So, Sunset Texas granite is on the base of the statue, which is the same granite that they used on the Texas Capitol. The cement mixer used to mix all the cement was placed inside of the statue in the heart area.
Oh, weird. Huh.
Isn't that interesting? He's the only man in American history to be elected governor of 2 states. He was a citizen of 5 nations: the Confederate States, United States, Cherokee, Mexico, and Texas. And Sam Houston's last words were, "Texas, Margaret." So I thought that was interesting. There's, I think there's a display in there, in the little museum.
Yes, where it shows like all the other statues and
right, like it puts it in perspective to the Statue of Liberty. If I'm not mistaken, he is physically larger
because of the base.
It's the base that's different. He's larger than the Statue of Liberty, but the base on the Statue of Liberty
is bigger.
Is bigger. So it's taller. So that's a really fun fact. More fun facts about Huntsville. That's also where there's Huntsville State Park is there. There is Sam Houston
nice
State
prison.
There is our
at a substantial
state
speed and don't pick up hitchhikers.
Yes, our state prison. There's several facilities for that prison there, and then also there is Sam Houston State University there at Huntsville. So, that's and it's like right where it's like next to the forest. So the woods are beautiful around there, like lots of tall trees and very different kind of scenery from what we have here in the Dallas area. So we're kind of in the rolling plains part.
Just don't
here,
camp out near the prison.
Don't camp out near the prison.
Yeah. Go to college, go to prison. I'm just kidding. Go to college and end up in prison in Huntsville.
No. We
We
are not going to disparage that school because it is a very fine school.
It is a very nice school. I almost went there. But then I never would have met Kristen and we wouldn't have been here today.
Right.
And they probably send you to a different prison, not one that you're local to.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. No,
Well, that one, and I think that's a men's prison. I don't know.
Right.
I don't
I
know
think-
if there is a women's prison there or not, but that is, I think, one of the
It's
largest.
a sight to see when you drive by. It's huge.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's
huge. Yeah.
very
Well, it's on
big.
both sides of the road.
Yes.
There's different facilities there all together. So, yeah. And there is a prison museum there as well. So, another interesting thing to see. if you're interested in that kind of thing. So.
That went in a weird direction. Sorry.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'm talking about things to see in Texas. So.
Things to see in Texas. I mean, we had the electrical chair didn't we?
Oh, I think I don't
No,
know. No, we don't do
the other kind now.
Or injection.
For the longest, Texas had the electric chair.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And I think it was done in...
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I think so. So they probably have one in the museum there,
Uh-huh.
I would think. Yeah. So if you're into that kind of thing, yeah. Kind of interesting, scary, but interesting.
I should add that to my bucket list.
What else do you have there, Kristen?
Yeah.
Oh man. So Asmodeus' legs. Asmodeus's legs in another statue, odd statue. Osmodeus, maybe I'm saying it wrong. It's outside of Amarillo.
Mm-hmm.
Asmodeus, Asmodeus.
I think you're saying it right.
That sounds about right.
And it's called Asmodeus legs, and it's literally like a statue of like a leg in a tube sock. It's really weird. Yeah.
Huh.
I think it's I think they painted it. Yeah, it was painted in a tube sock, and now it's like graffiti. So Travis and I when we went on our road trip for our honeymoon, we wanted to take this big, long trip through the Southwest. We were going to head up, from Denton to Amarillo, and then go head north to Colorado, and then swing around Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and then come back. And so I had this long trip, and it did, it was too much. It was a little extra. It was way too many stops. So we ended up just
pipe dream.
We ended up just going, let's just go to Colorado, because we were going to do an RV, and I'm kind of glad we didn't, because we would have had to RV hookup every night and then drive 8 hours. So I'm glad we didn't do that. We just went to Colorado only, but on our way, we stopped at the stuff in Amarillo. So we went to Cadillac Ranch and then Asmodeus legs. And it's so bizarre because it's literally just these giant legs on a cement block. Huh. They're not the best sculpted legs. Do you remember in Lost, that TV show Lost? Uh-huh. There was an episode where they introduced some of the more other. There weren't the island characters. They were the two brothers or whatever.
Oh, the
good and evil kind of guys.
Yeah. The last season or whatever.
Yeah, there was an episode where there was a giant foot.
Yes.
You remember how weird it was?
A Greek statue.
Yeah, but it was ginormous.
Like Colossus.
Yes.
Or something. Yeah.
Yes. And so. And it was just the foot, the rest of the statue is gone. And you're like, wow, where's the rest of the statue? That's kind of the way this is, because they're broken off at the knees. And, they're also not anatomically correct because they're kind of weird shaped.
Okay.
So I don't know, I just kind of envisioned the giant foot from Lost. Why is there this giant sculpture or statue that's broken? And it's almost it seems like ancient history, but it's really not. It's just someone weird art. It's almost like the further west in Texas you get, the weirder the art is, right?
Yeah.
So
I've been there.
Exactly, right? It really belonged in Marfa, and it would have totally fit in Marfa. And so that's where I kind of got that vibe when we went to Marfa. I was like, wow, this is kind of like when we went to Amarillo, because there was the Cadillac Ranch, which was really cool also. Mm-hmm. But it's also covered in graffiti. I mean, there was 100 people there, and they were all spray painting the Cadillacs on top of everyone else's spray paint. So all the pictures that you see online, just keep in mind that even Asmodeus legs, they're just covered in graffiti. They've repainted the legs a bajillion times. And I think actually it's one of those things where it's a prank. The schools like the other rival school would come and like spray paint their legs or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was weird. We went, we saw it, and we were like, wow, okay, I drove all the way over here for this. But yeah. We also went, when we went to Amarillo, there's a steak place there that's like very well known. If you're in Amarillo, you just got to eat dinner there. I think it's called the Big Texan.
Yes, it is.
Have you been there?
I have been there
Did
in
you go
high
with
school.
I was about to say, did you go with school?
Yeah, we always stopped there whenever on football games out that way, and there was always somebody doing the big challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would say that their food was really good.
They do have really good food.
Enjoyed
It was
their
on Man
steaks.
versus Food.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was the
'cause
very
he
first
tried to eat-
episode
Okay.
Oh,
of
wow.
Man
Makes
versus
sense.
Food. He went to the Big Texan.
Did he win?
Of course.
That's cool.
I
need to
mean,
watch that then.
doing stuff like that. Now he's sick. He doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I imagine. But yes, if you're ever in Amarillo, check out those 3 places for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I know I have another weird one. If we're going to be on the weird things here, there's a place down in the hill country that's called Stonehenge 2.
Uh-huh.
And
I've heard about that one.
I want to go to that one so bad because I really want to go to Stonehenge, but that one's might be on my wait list. So, I'm trying to remember exactly where it's at. Hold on just a second. Let me pull this back up. It's not telling me. It just says the hill country. But it's Hunt, Texas, I believe is what it's telling me here. But it's an actual replica of Stonehenge that, and it's really cool. And he's also added some of the Easter Island Rapa Nui, I think is what they're called, out there as well. And so they were actually in somewhere else on somebody's farm or something, and then they actually moved them stone by stone to the place where they're at right now. And so they're actually on the campus of the Hill Country Arts Foundation. So I thought that one was kind of cool. That's a very unique and fun thing to go see. I'm really wanting to go down there and go check that out because I think that's just such a cool idea.
For sure. And then, of course, in Paris, Texas, there's a mini Eiffel Tower.
There sure is. There is.
Yeah, and
yes.
In Bowie, Texas, there's
a
the
giant
world's largest Bowie knife.
Yes, yes.
I've driven past that one a bunch of times.
Yeah, I went to a wedding about a year ago out there, and we stopped by the huge Bowie knife.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of other weird big statues in Texas, there in Groom, Texas, there is a Leaning Tower of Texas.
Instead of Pisa.
Yeah, it's a Leaning Tower of Texas. And then, more locally, we have an art installation in downtown Dallas called the Eyeball. Yeah,
yes,
it's a huge eyeball.
When do you know when that appeared? Was it since you'd been working down there, or was it always there? Because I never noticed
it
that.
It has always been down there. I remember, well, not always, but I remember noticing it
since the dawn of time. No,
the dawn of time.
They just built all these buildings around this giant eyeball.
When we lived in Denton, I believe, I remember.
Oh, really? Okay.
I remember driving down in downtown Dallas at some point in time, probably when my dad was in Baylor Hospital, and I remember snapping a quick picture of the eyeball or driving down the road.
It was made in 2007.
Okay,
that was while we were in Denton. Yeah,
that was when we were in Denton. So yeah, I remember driving down there and like doing a double take.
Oh yeah, it's weird
seeing
looking.
it for the first time because it's just like wow, there's a big. And then now I work right by it and I see it all the time.
It has a diameter of 6 feet, so that kind of gives you. Oh wait a minute.
Only
wait.
That would be like
the first one. Oh no. Okay, I'm backing up. Actually, that the artist who made that one is Tony Tassett. and he made one 6 feet diameter in 2007, and it's in St. Louis, Missouri. The second one, it was made in 2010, and it is 30 feet. That's the one in Dallas.
Oh, okay. Well, I was still living in Denton in 2010, so.
So, yeah, that's kind of fun. There's all kinds of fun little things like that around Texas. I think that's part of that is because Texas is
so big.
So big that there's a lot of stuff like that. Some of the fun kind of things on the line of sculptures and statues and stuff is down in Galveston, where they've been through multiple hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
There are artists who go through, or there was an artist who went through, I don't know how many of them there are, but they took some of the trees that were damaged. The trees were killed by the hurricane, broken off, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 feet tall. The whole top of the tree is gone. So it's like just a big trunk sticking there. And he came around and carved into some of these trees and carved sculptures into the trees.
Mm-hmm.
They're very fascinating, great pieces of art. But that's something very unusual as well.
Okay. Well, Texas has like all of these cool kind of statue destinations. There's also a very like viral Texas most haunted places road trip going around right now. And Jason, my husband, and I have 2 different like bucket list road trips of Texas. One of them is the 13 most haunted places. And I'll link these for y'all in the Heard It on the podcast. The 13 most haunted places in Texas, and then the 13 creepiest ghost towns in Texas.
Ooh.
Which, of course, we went to one last summer, Terlingua.
I didn't find it all that creepy, did you?
No, it wasn't.
Of course,
that
we didn't
creepy.
really hang around in the old.
We did go to the cemetery, though.
Yes.
But I didn't find it that creepy.
I didn't either. It was just old. Yeah.
I didn't really find it ghost towny.
No, because
it was just
to
a bunch
me,
of bricks.
It was weird to me that they call it a ghost town because the city of Terlingua has grown up, or I say the city.
It wasn't really a city either.
It's a town.
Yeah, I know.
But the township of Terlingua still exists. The old town was the ghost town, and now there's the new town, and it kind of is spread out all around it. So it's not like the town really went away. Maybe it went away for a while. I don't know. I'm not real familiar with the history of Terlingua, but there's development all around it,
Yeah.
And that was, in fact, we drove past the old town on our way to a little shopping area and restaurant where we had dinner and then breakfast the next morning. So it was, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. It was like just an old part of the town to me. It didn't feel like a ghost town. Now, I know
For sure.
in Lubbock area, there used to be a ghost town just outside of the city limits of Lubbock. I think it was on the way to Ransom Canyon or Buffalo Lakes or one of those towns or one of those lakes there. And there was an old ghost town there, and it was literally just shacks, wooden buildings that were just dilapidated and falling apart. And it was an old ghost town.
Texas has a lot of those.
Really?
Well, yeah, just like a lot of ghost towns, a lot of little towns.
Oh, yeah, we
that
drove
just
through
went away.
one on
settlement
our
towns out in the middle of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
And there's actually one ghost town around Vernon where I grew up. It's called Medicine Mound.
Huh. Never heard of it.
And it's kind of it was like kind of I'm trying to think. It was like it used to be a home for local Native American tribes.
Okay.
And there are these 2, and it's so funny because it's kind of like legend around where I grew up. There are these 2 like mounds,
Uh-huh.
like not really
But they're man-made.
hill like. There's these 2 they're not really man-made. I mean, I guess maybe they are, or
Yeah.
grew up around, but like there are 2 mounds flatland
Uh-huh.
out in the middle of nowhere, and then there's these two like big, hill like mounds with nothing else around it. And it's supposed to be like a really like haunted spot, and you can't even drive up to them anymore because they're on private property, but supposedly haunted, and nobody knows, like why they're there because everything else is flat, and it used to be sacred ground.
Right. I wonder if it's related to the Caddo tribes, because um, the Caddo Indian, for lack of, you know, the Caddo Native Americans were they're like a Mississippi tribes, and they kind of bled over into Texas as well. And out in East Texas, there's a place called the Caddo Mounds State Historic Site, and there's a couple of mounds there. It was originally like a tribal center, like the tribes would all come there to meet and to congregate, and take care of their business or whatever they had to do, and do trading and stuff. And it was like kind of up on these mounds, and I think one of them is a burial mound, and then one of them is like a working, like that was where they had their meetings or whatever. And so there was like a whole village there and everything around these mounds, and they eventually got abandoned, but there's the stuff is still there. And the Historical Society has built up Caddoan, the village. They've recreated the village, so you can go check that out and everything. So I wonder if that was, if it was something similar to that, that
Probably
just got
sacred spots. Yeah, for sure.
So that brings me on to the things about like state historic sites. I mean, the obvious one is the Alamo. Everybody wants to go see the Alamo. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one. The Riverwalk in San Antonio, which is right across the street from the Alamo, is another great site in the San Antonio area. There's actually some missions that you can take.
San Jacinto.
Yes, the census.
I've been there.
Yes, there's a monument. There's a big obelisk monument there. They used to have the Battleship Texas out there at the San Jacinto Monument, but it is right now in dry dock in Galveston for repairs. I don't know if they're going to take it back to the San Jacinto battleground when they're done with it, or if it will stay in Galveston. But that's a cool site because it's an old battleship that's really cool. And I mean, there's a lot of things like that are worth checking out as well. And then there's like natural features of Texas that, I mean, like we've talked about how Texas has such a wide range of geography and climate and stuff. Here in Texas, or in the Dallas area, we're kind of in this rolling plains. It's really humid. We're close to the coast. Well, I say we're close to the coast. We're about 5 hours from the coast, but it's really humid here. It's really hot. And then you get down to the coast, and it gets kind of swampy in some areas and stuff like that. But if you go to the other side of the state, we have dry, arid desert, the South Plains, which is up above the Llano Estacado. That's like when people talk about the Dust Bowl, that's where the Dust Bowl was,
Yeah.
It's just dry and very flat. But that flat is actually broken up by the Llano Estacado, so that there's like canyons there where the plates have risen up or whatever, and so there's like this big plateau up there. And then there's also Paladura Canyon, which is one of our it's one of our state parks. So I think it should be a national park because it's really cool. It's kind of like a miniature version of the
Grand
Canyon. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's beautiful there. And then, we went on our trip to West Texas last summer, we actually got to visit Big Bend National Park, and that was a fabulous, fabulous view. That was like you're talking about the mountains. It's unbelievable that they're mountains, and they're very different from the mountains you see in Colorado and stuff like that because it's arid desert climate. So they're dry and very stark, and
it's not like in Colorado where you're just continually getting higher altitude, and then you're like, oh, we're in the mountains, and you're like in the mountains.
Right.
I felt like in Big Bend we were driving up to the mountains, like
it was flat. It was relatively flat,
and then boom,
and then
you're
kind of in a little bit of hills, but then it's like there's the mountains, and they
big
surround
chisel
you.
Of it, yeah.
Yeah, you're not really. There's like these large buttes, and just really
different, very
it's
contrasting
very different.
to like Colorado mountains,
right? Yeah, very different. So it's definitely worth seeing. And there's actually several mountain ranges in that area. There's the Chizos Mountains, the Guadalupe, the Davis Mountains. I don't even remember all of them. So it's a really interesting area. And we got to see quite a bit of that. One of the really cool things about that area of West Texas is also that it's a kind of a dark sky area. McDonald Observatory is in the Davis Mountains there. It's near the town of Alpine, Texas.
Definitely worth traveling to go
yes,
experience.
Yes, because it's a rated dark sky area, so they control their light pollution so as to make the telescopes work better, where you can see more and everything. And the sky is just spectacular there at night. The sunsets aren't too bad either, because in the arid desert you get a little dust kicking up, and because everything, especially in the flat areas, you get a lot of coloration in the sunset that's really beautiful. And a lot of the wildlife was fascinating too. We saw a lot of javelinas and deer, and I'm trying to think of all the stuff that we saw, even just driving down the road at night. So that was kind of cool.
We also stayed in some pretty cool places as well.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we stayed in a haunted hotel.
A teepee.
A teepee.
Mm-hmm. And then the coolest one was the dome tent kind
that
of
was
thing.
down
So
by
that
Terlingua. Yeah,
totally didn't feel like a tent at all.
it was glamping. Yes,
yeah,
it was
very
like
cool.
a
I'm
geodesic
definitely
dome.
gonna go back there and stay.
Yeah,
in the
I
future.
want to go back there again too. That was just beautiful. We had a beautiful
That was my favorite.
beautiful
about the
view.
trip.
We were actually there on a full moon, so we didn't get to enjoy the starry night as much as we could have. But it was really cool to be out there under the full moon with a great view and a really cool hotel or cabin, dome, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, lodging
Dome or whatever.
Lodging. There we go. Lodging.
They had different places to stay there as well. You could also stay in a cave in that same area.
A cave that has like a
was,
glass
like, sealed.
front on it.
Yeah.
And the place that had the teepee had motor coaches that you could stay in, like little airstreams that they fixed up to make them into rooms, and you can bring your own
And
tents
yurts.
and camp and yurts. They had yurts, so it was really cool. It's a
There
really
there
fun
was even a
places.
place. There was even a place. We didn't stay there, but there was a place down there where you could sleep in a bug, like a little
like a slug bug thing,
like
right?
a slug
Yes.
bug. Yeah,
Volkswagen. Yeah.
Volkswagen.
Yeah.
It was like a turn into bed, and you just get in there and sleep.
Yeah. They're very cool. That whole trip was really fun because it was kind of seeing the quirky side of Texas as well as that natural side. So we got to see a lot of the natural things. We wanted to go swim at Balmorhea State Park, which has a natural swimming pool. So it's a natural spring, and then they built a pool around this natural spring. So the spring feeds the swimming pool. So it's really cool. And but it was full. They only allow a certain number of people in, and when we tried to get reservations, it was already full. So we only got to drive by it and look at it through the fence. unfortunately. But
It was pretty though.
it was very pretty, and we got to see lots of really cool things out there. In the desert, the Marfa lights, things like that. But we also got to see. Well, I guess that would fall under quirky also because it's kind of weird. And yes, we did see the lights, and we actually did a little. We did some podcasting, and we talked about some of that. If you go back and listen to some of our podcasts from the fall, and I'll link those on here. But I don't. We didn't do any recording while we were out there, but we did some recording in the car when we were driving back and forth.
We recorded an episode while we were in our tent.
In the tent, yes,
Yeah.
we did. We did our spirit animals
And in the haunted
in
hotel.
the hotel. I'm talking about at the Marfa
at the
Lights.
lights. Oh,
okay.
So we didn't do any recording there. But we did see the lights, and it was very interesting. And I couldn't tell you what it was. I'd like to drive back there in the daytime again. Now that I know, we
Some
drove
binoculars.
past. Well, we drove past it in the day, and I think we drove past it during the day. I think we saw it during the day on our way to somewhere else.
Not really something you notice
Yeah,
too much.
yeah. There's like a viewing area there, but there's not anything to see, and we didn't know where the lights came from when we saw it.
Yeah.
So then we came back that night after dark to watch for the lights, and we saw them. And I would really like to go back and look at it in the daytime again with binoculars or whatever, with my telephoto lens, and see if I can. It puzzles me. I do not know
Your
what
logic brain wants the explanation.
my logic brain wants the explanation. It does, and I can't fathom what it could be. I've looked at it on a map from overhead, from an overhead view on a map. I just can't imagine what those lights could be. And I know people have been wondering for a long time what those lights can be. It boggles my mind. And it can't be somebody out there making the lights just to attract people out there, because that would be too much to do. I mean, serious. That's a lot. They're not making anything.
They're not making money.
They're not
off
making
of
money
it, yeah.
off of it. So, if they were charging you to come look at it, that would be one thing. But this is a free place. There's not any charge for it. And these lights just come and go in a weird and unpredictable way.
It's a whole town conspiracy, and like the whole town getting in on it to
Oh yeah,
It-
they all take turns
yeah,
out there
they
flashing
all
their
take
flashlights or
turns
whatever.
running around in flashlights in the middle of nowhere.
Mandatory service. Like,
Yeah, if you live in this town, you got to run around once
and
a
you have
month
to keep it a secret.
with a flashlight. And
Some of the other quirky things that we saw there, Marfa has been for a long time a draw for artists of all kinds, and there's a big movement there, of people who are just drawn to it for the art and stuff. The Donald Judd Foundation is there, and there's all kinds of things set up there. We went to several of those museums. They were
and some cool stores and galleries
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Just it's really kind of a fun place. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would in ways that I didn't expect. It was just kind of cool and weird and quirky, and yeah, I liked it. Even Marfa Prada. So yeah.
Even like the window was busted out when we
Oh, yeah,
went there.
that
and
was
there
kinda
like,
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, dang, it would have been a little bit better picture if there wasn't like a piece of cardboard, or whatever it was. I don't remember what. It wasn't cardboard, but they had some makeshift
Something
on the
on their
window.
window,
Yeah.
yeah.
So back to like Dallas area. Someplace I've never been that I want to go to is the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank. Oh wait, no, I
You
have
have
been there.
been there.
You're right. I was there when I was like a teenager, so I
Yeah, you
haven't.
went there in economics
Right,
class,
but I
think.
was a
Yeah.
kid, so like I need to redo because
Oh,
now
yeah,
I actually
yeah.
care. I want to go back. I was sorry, I was thinking the Denver one because I tried to go to the one in Denver twice,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
haven't gotten anyone to go with me because
They're not
So-
the people you're with aren't
no,
interested.
yeah, but yeah. So Federal Reserve Bank, that's a pretty cool place, and you can get a tour. So I wanted to do that, and I have not been to the what's the museum at Dealey Plaza?
The sixth floor museum.
Yes, I have
Yes.
not been there.
Yeah, but we
either.
did go down to the grassy knoll.
Yes.
And kind of walked around down there and checked out where and you know, you could see the window that supposedly
Judd?
supposedly Lee
Lee
Harvey
Harvey.
Oswald
Well,
shot John F. Kennedy. So.
it's interesting. Like if you go up and look out from, you can't go to that window, but you can go to the window next to it,
Uh-huh.
and you go up and look out, and then you can see the X where Kennedy was shot.
Right. Yeah.
So it's and if you go like down there near there, you can also see it, but not like, it's hard to see when you just drive over it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because when you're going through there, there's a lot of traffic, and you have
Yeah.
to kind of like there's
have
a
to keep moving,
stoplight right
yeah.
there, and you got to keep every time. I'm like and then you're
Yeah.
gone. It's like poof. Yeah.
The way that we toured down there was to ride the train
Mm-hmm.
down to Union Station and then walk, which is not a long walk from Union Station.
There's a really nice. Oh, not gonna say nice because it's about the Holocaust, but there's a
It's a
very,
very good-
informative,
Yes.
good Holocaust museum.
Yes. Actually, Ashley has volunteered
next
there
to it.
before. So, yeah, it's really cool. And in fact, I think they're building a new facility, or they're trying to build a new facility also.
And
There's a lot of historical stuff down in downtown Dallas.
yeah, there's a samurai museum in downtown Dallas as well that
the
my
Crow-
husband and I went to.
The Crow Museum
yeah.
of Asian Art. Yes.
And then of course there's the Dallas Museum of Art,
Yes.
which is a very nice museum.
Modern art.
The Nasher Sculpture
then-
Center.
Yeah, and then the Perot Museum of Nature and
Nature-
Science.
Uh-huh.
Love that. And on
There's-
Thursdays they have an adult night, no kids
Mm.
at night on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and do all of the Perot fun things
Oh yeah.
without the kids there running over you to do it.
One of the things we went to when my son was in school was the Dallas World Aquarium, which is it's like a core sample of an ecosystem. And you start out, you come into the museum and they take you to the top floor and you're in the canopy of the rainforest. And
Still haven't gotten to go.
and you oh my, we need to go.
That's like
I've
the
been several times and
Coolest
it's really cool.
zoo ever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a natural zoo. So
really
it's
want to go.
it's set up in this rainforest and you're just going around this area and working your way down through all of the levels of the rainforest, and then you get down to the water and stuff, and then they have like some penguins out in the but they also have like an aquarium. I don't know why they call it the Dallas World Aquarium, because the aquarium is really only a very small part of it, but they have panthers and all kinds of animals in there that, you know, just live in this in the
Ecosystem.
canopy of the it's
birds
really
are
cool.
just like flying around. Too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Open
It's really cool. And
open-ish. Like the panthers can't eat them. The panther, and I remember there was one panther, and it was in like a cage that was like had like glass walls all the way around, so you could go around and see it all the way, and it was like by itself.
yeah.
So it wouldn't eat all the other.
Yeah, yeah. But it's really cool. And the Dallas Zoo is pretty cool. They have a savanna section. I think that's what they call it. That's like a desert, or, you know, like the savanna where the lions and stuff live. And the animals are all just out in the wild there, and the tram runs by it, and you can see those. I have not gotten to see that part before
Me
because
neither.
it's closed during the hot part
That's
of
at
the
the
summer.
aquarium.
No, that's at the Dallas Zoo.
Oh, okay.
I said at the Dallas Zoo.
Oh, I missed that part.
The
I'm
Dallas
sorry.
Zoo. The Fort Worth has a great zoo as well. And a botanical garden that's really cool, and a log cabin village.
Yes, I have
that's very
been to
cool.
the botanical garden. It is very nice.
The Fort Worth one?
Uh-huh.
I like the
there's
Dallas Arboretum
Dallas
too.
Arboretum. That's very cool.
And
That
have you
is
ever
really-
been to the water gardens in Fort Worth?
No.
Oh, that's really cool too.
Yeah, that's
It's a-
one of the top destinations in Texas as well for people going to the water gardens.
Yeah, it's actually been featured in movies before. The one notable
Logan's
one,
Run.
the
yeah.
Logan's Run. Yes,
I think we talked about
it's
that on the
it's-
podcast.
It's a big fountain, waterfall fountain that's sunk below the street level, and so you can walk down in it and be down in the bottom of this fountain, and watching the waterfalls and stuff. And it's kind of cool.
If you've ever been on a trolley or never been on a trolley, there is a trolley, the McKinney trolley,
Yes.
in downtown Dallas. That's really fun. It moves slow. It's bumpy. It's noisy. It's not as... Okay, so like the regular DART trains and buses are kind of uncomfortable. The trolley's like extra uncomfortable, but it's worth it. It was fun.
Yeah, they also have one of those at Galveston, and it is
Yes,
back.
you're right.
It is back to running now, and they just take you on little tours of the island on that.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen the trolley around, and you can also in Dallas, you can also get a horse and carriage to carry you around. Which
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
I see that a lot working in downtown.
there's a lot of cool things in downtown that I think we've talked about before. The
Yeah.
the AT&T Discovery Garden. There's lots and lots of art.
Yeah,
All over
interactive
downtown. Yeah.
art. Just in every year, Dallas has a huge art day, art festival, where street artists come out and everything is like featured, and they put local artists from schools, local student artists from schools up on the big screens at the AT&T Discovery
Oh,
Center.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And every year they do that, and then there's vendors, local artists trying to sell their stuff, street painting, everything like that.
Well, and in the DFW area, there's also like the Grapevine area where they have the Grape Fest, which is there's a lot of vineyards around that area, a lot of wineries, and they have all kinds of celebrations of the or the grape harvest. And there's a tarantula train, I believe is what it's called, that I don't know what kind of train it is. I mean, it's like a steam locomotive, I believe, that goes from Grapevine to Fort Worth, where the stockyards are. And the stockyards are really cool because
During
they
Christmas, it's a Christmas train.
Right. And they actually run when you go to the stockyards. They actually still run cattle through the stockyards.
Yeah, the cattle
every day.
drive every day.
Every day. So if you want to know what it was like in the Old West or whatever, you can come check that out. That's really, really cool.
Definitely, if somebody visits in Fort Worth, that's one of the first. That and the water gardens, definitely.
Yeah. Yep. And there's outside of Fort Worth in is it Glenrose or Cleburne?
Yeah,
the dinosaur
Glenroe.
tracks.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Dinosaur Valley State Park.
Yes, they actually found dinosaur tracks. They were probably originally in mud in the creek, and it it just became rock over time, and you can still see the dinosaur tracks in the stone. I think that's really fascinating, really cool. There's lots of things kind of like that all over the state. Hueco, I think it's called Hueco Tanks, is out in West Texas, and it is like some rocky areas where the Native Americans did what are they calling? Where they drew on the rocks. Pictographs?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And I just read something the other day about the difference. There's pictographs and something else, and one of them's where they drew on it, and the other one's where they scratched it. And I can't remember which one is which, but and I can't remember the name of the other one. But they have those out there, and you can take a tour, and it's a guided tour. They'll show you what you're looking at and stuff. I thought that was really cool. They're like thousands of years old. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Way before America.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I know it's interesting because, like, for everything here in America, like, I mean, we have, like, the Native American stuff, that kind of old stuff, but everything else, like, structural wise, is, like, colonial.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't, yeah. So it's not like we have, like, the ancient Roman ruins and stuff, you know, like that. But there are archaeological digs and stuff like that. There's there's a museum in Lubbock that my grandmother took me to. I wish I could remember the name of it. I think that was like on the north side of town.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
And they you can dig for fossils and stuff.
Yes, and she used to take me there
I'm
all
trying
the
to-
time.
I don't remember what it's called.
Loved doing that. And they had all kinds of things on display that they had dug up.
Uh-huh.
And to me, that was just so fascinating. Like, I wanted to be an archaeologist from going there. It was so neat. Because it's not like the museums that you go to, you know, and they have it all like shiny and polished and like, oh, look at this vase from the Roman Empire. Nothing like that. It was just like, these are the things we dug up in our own backyard that, you know, long lost, forgotten stuff. And just like, wow, you know, to me, that was really cool. To think about like ancient America.
Right?
So, and that's the dinosaurs and that stuff is all very cool.
Yeah, I guess you really don't think about ancient America.
No, because we really don't have a whole lot of ancient stuff. I mean,
Well, except for the Native American. Yeah. Everything else is
pretty new.
You know.
Yeah. The Alamo is like ancient Texas.
Well, I think we've hit the gamut. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more things in Texas to go see, but I have a whole bucket list of state parks that I want to go to. I want to hit them all. I think it would be totally cool to hit all the state parks. And you know, there's so many historic sites. You can't even count them all. So
Yeah, definitely. And that haunted road trip for sure.
yeah, that would be fun.
Or just like, I haven't been down to San Antonio.
Right.
Gone the river walkway in a really long time.
We did that not last year, but the year before.
Was that Raina's birthday?
Yeah, we went a little before her birthday because I
right.
couldn't get off like that whole weekend. So we went at the very end of October, and it was so nice because the weather was nice. We went down, we walked the Riverwalk because she had never been there. Travis hadn't been since he was in high school for like a school trip.
I love walking the Riverwalk.
And I wanted to see the Alamo again, just because I didn't remember the Alamo. And because I guess I was grouchy and a teenager when we went, and so I didn't pay attention. And so, but there was like some stuff I really wanted to see. There was this really cool junk store that we went to on the Alamo that I was just like, I gotta take Travis there.
Across the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we couldn't find it. It wasn't there.
I don't know. It's probably gone.
And, you know, I found that entrance.
Yeah.
You know, but that store wasn't there. And that was literally like one of the big reasons I wanted to take Travis. But we ate at the Rainforest Cafe down there, you know, because for Raina.
Right.
We stayed in the Drury Inn, like on the north side of San Antonio. Because to me, like, San Antonio is not big. It's worth driving.
Yeah.
It's not a difficult challenge to get across
We
town.
did that in Girl Scouts, too.
Yeah. And I remembered that. And I was like, yeah, it's no biggie. I don't need to stay in a hotel, like, on the Riverwalk. Because it took us, like, 15
Although it was
minutes
fun
to
when
get...
we stayed on the hotel on the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But we went to the Riverwalk. There's, like, this really cool light show that's like projected on the front of a church. That was really pretty. We went to the Alamo. We walked around. We shopped, looked and stuff like that. Our hotel room had like an indoor swimming pool. Raina loved that because it was October, so she got to swim, and just eat some food.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was relaxing. We weren't like in a big hurry to do a bunch of stuff, So you should go again. That is definitely a weekend trip. You could make that a quick weekend trip because it doesn't take hardly any time to get there. And if you leave like really early in the morning, which is what we did, we tried to leave at like 4 a.m. or something so we could get there really soon. Then we had like the whole day, and then we waited until like the midnight to leave,
Yeah.
So we extended our trip by the hours.
There's also Fiesta Texas there.
If you like
to do
amusement
that.
parks. Yeah, that was a good amusement park.
It's Six Flags, and I live by the original Six Flags.
And you don't go, do you?
Don't like Six Flags.
Yeah.
Okay, I do, but the lines, man.
Yeah. That's why we don't.
I think they let too many people in now. They didn't used to.
Well, I would like to know what other places in Texas that we totally forgot, because I'm sure there's a bajillion places.
there
it's a big
are.
state. So hit us up on, the MMC chat on Facebook and tell us where you like to go, cool destinations in Texas. Maybe you have a hidden gem. We were talking about going to South Padre this summer. I hope we get to go. I've never been there before. So, let us know if we forgot anything, because we're always looking for our next fun destination for our girl trip. So if you think of anything cool, day trip wise, all the way across Texas, what have you, let us know. Drop a line on MMC chat. And then Cindy said she'd probably name some of the locations on the Heard It On the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
I'll try to link them if I can find them.
Yeah. So definitely go check that out. So what are we talking about next week?
So next week, we are celebrating National Moon Day. It's kind of funny because it hits on a week where we have two moon related things. One is the full moon on Sunday after our podcast airs, but the actual meaning of National Moon Day is to celebrate the day that the moon landing occurred, and that is on July the 20th. So we're going to talk about the moon landings. We're going to talk about the full moon. I don't know. We're just going to talk about moons. So we'll see what comes up.
All right. Look forward to it.
Bye.
Bye.